Was Ripple originally created to replace the Federal Reserve here in the United States? And will XRP be one of the world's new global reserve assets? There's a new video put together by Rob Cunningham and everything that Ripple has worked on over the last few years and what point it's leading us to here in the future. We're talking about cross-border settlement, foreign exchange liquidity, treasury management, stablecoin infrastructure, digital asset custody, compliance tooling, and interoperability between financial networks. Let me play this. I want to give you some additional context as we go through it. I just thought when I was watching this would be very valuable to play for you as a whole and go through it together. So let's start here.
While everyone's distracted by political theater, the biggest financial revolution in American history has been happening under our noses. In about 24 months, one company quietly spent over $3 billion assembling what can reasonably be called a replacement for the Federal Reserve System. Not a competitor, a replacement. I'm talking about Ripple. Before you think crypto company, pause. That's exactly the perception being encouraged while Ripple acquires core financial infrastructure. Here's what they've actually built. This isn't a startup with a white paper. It's a full stack monetary system already operational. In 2023, Ripple acquired Hidden Road for $1.25 billion. Hidden Road was a global multi-asset prime broker serving 300 plus institutions, having cleared over $3 trillion across FX, crypto, derivatives, and fixed income. Rebranded as Ripple Prime, Ripple didn't buy a trading desk. They bought Wall Street's plumbing. Next, Treasury reported integration value $1 billion, connects 800 plus corporate clients, and to 13,000 banks, moving roughly $12.5 trillion in annual payment volume. That gives Ripple direct pipes into where Fortune 500 CFOs manage cash, liquidity, FX, collateral, and working capital. Rail, for about $200 million, processed.
Before we get into Rail, Treasury, 800 corporate clients, some of the companies like American Airlines, some of the biggest companies in the world, connected to 13,000 banks globally. And then Ripple Prime, over 300 financial institutional connections. You throw that on top of what Ripple already has. I mean, they are connected to the largest financial institutions in the world, period, end of story. I mean, XRP Rails will have the ability, in my personal opinion, to connect all of these networks together and move value seamlessly across private and public chains here in the future. And I think XRP does have kind of a seat at this table of utility assets that are going to be used on a scale that we can't yet comprehend. All right, let's get into Rail. I just thought this was great so far.
Collateral and working capital. Rail, for about $200 million, processes a meaningful share of global stablecoin B2B settlements and automates back office reconciliation. Ripple folded Rail into its stablecoin business and RLUSD Instant, programmable commercial money for business settlement. Put simply, Ripple Prime equals market access plus liquidity. Treasury equals corporate treasury layer. Rail plus RLUSD equals instant settlement dollar.
Rail is responsible for 10% of the global business-to-business stablecoin payments. And you got to understand that there's only so much infrastructure globally right now. And you have all of these large financial institutions now competing. For $200 million, Ripple picked up 10% of global business-to-business stablecoin payments. I think that's a great deal. Personally, I think Ripple will acquire more infrastructure around stable coins as we go through it. And I'd imagine they're already looking at their next acquisition, like another piece of the puzzle.
These moves form the plumbing of a new monetary chassis. Ripple also acquired Metaco Institutional Custody and Tokenization Infra and Standard Custody, a New York chartered trust. That gives institutional grade custody for crypto, tokenized real-world assets, CBDCs, and stablecoin. Crucially, Ripple has applied to the OCC for a national bank charter and for a Federal Reserve master account. If granted, Ripple becomes a Fed-connected bank that can custody digital assets, issue RLUSD, and clear value directly with the central bank 24/7 not sitting in the lobby, but walking into the control room. Brad Garlinghouse has said XRP sits at the center of everything Ripple does. So assemble the layers. Ripple Prime for market access, G Treasury for corporate cash management, RAIL and RLUSD for instant settlement, Standard Custody, Mitaco for regulated vaults, a national bank charter for legal authority, and XRPL, ODL, ILP, AMM for trustless programmable settlement. This is a full reserve, always on, globally compliant, tokenized monetary system, not a prototype. Now, what problems does this solve that governments and corporations are desperate to fix? Problem A, slow settlement and counterparty risk. International wires and correspondent banking take days, create FX slippage, and layer intermediaries who each add fees and risk. With XRP as a neutral bridge and RLUSD as a regulated settlement dollar, counterparties in different currencies can settle atomically. I get mine only when you get yours. Settlement compresses from T+2 to 3 days to mere seconds, with ISO 20022 data embedded for audit, compliance, and tariffs. Problem B, opacity and liquidity, collateral, and rehypothecation. Today, the same collateral can be pledged multiple times across prime brokerage and derivatives. Ripple Prime plus on-ledger custody means collateral, margin, and settlement can be transparent and auditable. Tokenized custody prevents secretly pledging the same asset many times. The fraud window narrows. Problem C, corporate treasury fragmentation. Multinationals juggle bank accounts in 20 countries. FX swaps, compliance checks, liquidity pools, and manual reconciliation. G Treasury, integrated into Ripple plugs Treasury ops into programmable rails, so value, reserves, and FX flow instantly across 13,000 plus banks and hundreds of corporates. Corporate money becomes software. Problem D, regulatory accountability. Regulators now demand provable compliance. Every transfer can carry structured data satisfying AML, KYC, sanction screening, tariff enforcement, and tax reporting in near real time. That's trusted but verifiable. You don't have to trust a counterparty, you can verify them on ledger. So what happens to the Fed model? The Fed issues base money and backstops banks. Commercial banks multiply base money through fractional reserve lending, creating credit that becomes deposits and charging interest on it. The system is intentionally opaque. Now place Ripple's stack alongside that. Direct impact has-on, transparency, pressure, atomic, timestamp, KYC, auditable settlement, makes the black box netting of big banks obsolete.
This is why institutions like the DTCC are moving forward with tokenization. It's to reduce friction, but it's also to give regulators and industry participants a full kind of overview of, who owns what and what's where. There's a lot of, illicit finance and bad actors in the current banking model, and moving everything to blockchain will kind of eliminate a lot of that. It won't stop everything, but it'll eliminate a lot of it. And Ripple really does kind of have this unique ability to be always in the right place at the right time. If you notice, if you go look around globally at the UK, at the EU, the United States here, in Washington, DC, at the White House, Ripple always seems to be in the most important meetings when crypto regulation and future infrastructure is being decided at the highest levels of government. And you start to wonder, why are they always allowed here? Like, why? Is there something that we don't know? And I think this is where the whole kind of conspiracy side around XRP and certain crypto assets comes from, because people are like, you can't just go and build out this company that does all of these different things, connects to all of these systems without something else going on. And so I think that's kind of the uniqueness around XRP and the mystique. Maybe that's a better word, around XRP. All right, let me just continue. I did have some other thoughts and ideas, but I'll save those for the end.
Direct impact #2, liquidity without leverage. Provably backed instant settlement reduces the need to borrow bank IOUs for cross-border movement. Direct impact #3, collateral discipline. Tokenized, regulated custody, shrinks secret rehypothecation, and forces leverage down. Direct impact hash 4, alternative rails for sovereigns. If Ripple gains a Fed master account and issues RLUSD under supervision, large corporates and treasuries can bypass parts of the correspondent bank stack. Direct impact hash 5, end of hidden usury as default. Instant, auditable, asset-backed settlement makes it harder to justify skimming interest on credit conjured by ledger entries. This is bigger than tech versus banks. It touches law and moral order. God's law honors honest weights and measures, transparent dealings, no theft by deception, and no oppression through abusive lending. The old system legalized money creation without collateral, routed it through private banks, and normalized charging interest on fabricated credit, a system that benefits from murky audit trails and concentrated control. That's Pharaoh economics. Control the grain, force dependence, rent life back to the slaves at interest. The emerging system Ripple aligns with offers the opposite. Tokenized value that's traceable, provable, and redeemable. Settlement finality without blind trust. Stablecoins like RLUSD that can be on-chain accountable and, if supervised by a bank charter and Fed account, directly overseen. XRP as a neutral bridge doesn't belong to any one nation or megabank. Neutrality plus auditability is the antidote to captive money. Under these conditions, the Fed's legacy model looks inefficient, non-compliant with modern data needs, systemically dangerous because of hidden rehypothecation, and morally indefensible when full reserve settlement is available. This doesn't guarantee overnight collapse, it's a trajectory. Nations move toward ledgered bilateral trade. Stablecoin legislation forces dollar token issuers into banking oversight, and Ripple is positioning itself as a regulated 24/7 settlement bank with custody, brokerage, treasury management, and programmable rails. So, do these trends merely challenge the Fed? No, they put its opaque, fractional reserve, usury-based model on trial. Ripple's integrated stack offers a lawful, transparent, auditable alternative that settles in seconds, encodes compliance at the transaction layer, honors real collateral, shrinks hidden leverage, and starves the parasite of unearned interest. In divine terms, this is the difference between Pharaoh lending you your labor at interest and Moses leading you through a door God opened. Brad Garlinghouse says XRP sits at the center of everything Ripple does because XRP and the rails Ripple is licensing and wiring into the Fed are being positioned as the neutral bridge for honest weights and measures. The days of invisible money priests extracting rent on engineered scarcity are numbered. While everyone's
All right, guys, let me know what you thought about that. Obviously, there's a ton of really good information there about Ripple and XRP and the vision and the goal of where they're going. There's also some stuff in there that kind of doesn't have anything to do with crypto. Don't really want to talk about that too much, but realistically, Ripple does have 75 plus licenses to operate globally. They are expanding faster than most crypto company and blockchains in the space. Right now, you're seeing a lot of companies go bankrupt and actually are closing their doors, but Ripple seems to be spending billions of dollars every year to expand its reach in the global financial markets. Also, something that we haven't heard much about over the last few years is central bank digital currency. In 2020, Ripple was talking with up to 50 governments around the world on central bank digital currency, and then it just disappeared. Like, we don't talk about it. Nobody ever mentions it anymore. And I don't know if it's because this current administration here in the United States is very anti-CBDC, and we've actually pushed through an anti-CBDC bill where the US government and the Fed cannot create a central bank digital currency until at least 2030. I don't know if that's the specific reason, or maybe Ripple just stopped kind of pursuing central banks in that order. But I've been always looking to try to get some new information around central bank digital currency. If you guys find anything, make sure to send it over because I'd love to do an updated video on that. But Anyways, let me know what you thought. I thought this was a great video, especially if you're new to Ripple or XRP and just trying to understand, the significance of Ripple's position in the current market and what they're trying to achieve at scale. And of course, if Ripple can get their banking license and a few other things here, they are going to be obviously one of the most important blockchain infrastructure companies in the world. I'd argue that they are already there, but having that OCC bank charter would really push them over the edge. All right. Thank you so much. Please like, share, comment below. Let me know what you guys thought about this. Obviously, it's a little bit different of the content we usually kind of make, but I thought this was valuable and I wanted to at least show it to you. All right. Thank you to Rob Cunningham for putting all of this together. And if you want to follow him, there you go.